So Kyle Kulinski decided to make a little video, which was uploaded earlier today, which I saw a few hours ago, and which he basically takes a victory lap over the fact that Joe Biden's vaccine mandate is back and is perfectly legal according to the sixth district court in Cincinnati. And he's taking a victory lap, even though this vaccine mandate is going to hurt the poor and middle class, but he's going to act like it doesn't. And in the process, he's gonna be condescending, and he's gonna have the unearned fake confidence for no reason, and he's gonna make an ass of himself. So it's this decision here. Before we go there, court allows Biden employer vaccine mandate take effect. Federal appeals court panel has ruled that President Joe Biden's vaccine mandate for larger private employers can take effect. Let me make this bigger because I gotta come back to this article in a minute. Okay, here we go. Let's make this bigger too because I'm going to be using this. Alright. Make sure everybody can see this. Okay, it's not that important, so let's start the video now. Alright, so let's do this.
Had his vaccine mandate, I put it in quotes, you guys know why, slapped down by the Fifth Circuit Court. And I did a segment at the time, and I said, okay, they slapped it down. I can virtually guarantee you this is going to be overturned. That when a higher court looks at it, they're going to say, wrong, this is allowed. Now, I didn't say that because I'm just giving my opinion. I told you guys, based on case law and precedent and history in the U.S. when it comes to the issue of vaccine mandates, what has...
It's a mandate. Why do you keep doing this? I don't know. He keeps doing this. It's a mandate. Either you get the vaccine or you get tested. It's a double mandate, in fact. It's a double fucking mandate. It's like, oh, if you don't get the vaccine, you have to get tested every week. It's a mandate, Kyle.
Has been ruled over and over and over and over. And so when I told you guys, look, this isn't going to stand, a lot of you guys didn't like what I had to say or disagreed with me or thought I was wrong or whatever. I'm here to say, tell me how my ass tastes. Because, of course, I'm right. So...
Tell you how your ass tastes? No, thank you. How about you tell me how Joe Biden's ass tastes? You can do that for me. Tell me how Joe Biden's ass tastes, because you love to taste Joe Biden's ass lately. So, tell me Joe Biden's ass tastes. Because lately you've been a Biden bro. We all know that. So please tell me how Joe Biden's ass tastes before I tell you how your ass tastes, which I would never taste your ass anyway. So, that's unbelievable.
AP says, breaking, a federal appeals court panel has ruled that President Joe Biden's vaccine mandate for larger private employers can take effect. Friday's ruling reverses a lower court ruling that had paused the requirement. Huh. What do you know? Old Kyle's right again. Now, there was one thing I was wrong about. I said when it gets to the Supreme Court will reverse it. Didn't even have to get to the Supreme Court.
Look at that unearned confidence and arrogance. It's like, I told you guys. See, I told you guys be overturned. Didn't I tell you guys be overturned? What? Where's the unearned confidence and arrogance is coming from this guy? I don't know. I guess like he nailed it or something. You didn't nail it. This is bullshit. But let's continue this for now.
Supreme Court. It got to the one court above it, the Sixth Court, and they were like, yeah, no, we're going to go ahead and allow this because it absolutely is allowed under the Constitution. So...
Which part of the Constitution? He didn't say. This is hilarious. He's like, it's allowed under the Constitution. Which part of the Constitution? I don't know. I'm just kissing Biden's ass right now, so I'm just going to claim it's part of the Constitution. It's allowed under the Constitution, even though it's not, really.
Now, my guess is it's going to be appealed again, and when it gets appealed again, maybe it will get to the Supreme Court, but my guess is they're going to say the exact same thing, that this is allowed. So, or, worst case scenario, the Supreme Court says, It's not allowed in the iteration you did it, but if it gets through Congress, then it would be totally allowed. So in other words, it's not the idea that the Constitution prohibits you from being able to do this. It's just not true. That's not accurate. Okay. But I want to give you some of the specifics here. So this is one of the judges, their statement on why this is allowed. Quote, given...
It's not called a statement, Kyle. It's called an opinion. If you're such a political expert, you should know this by now. It's called an opinion. That's what they write is a majority opinion and a minority opinion. It's not called a statement.
OSHA's clear and exercised authority to regulate viruses, OSHA necessarily has the authority to regulate infectious diseases that are not unique to the workplace. Judge Julia Smith Gibbons, who was nominated to the court by former President George W. Bush, a Republican, wrote in her majority opinion, quote, vaccination and medical examinations are both tools that OSHA historically employed to contain illness in the workplace, she wrote. Gibbons noted that the agency's authority extends beyond just regulating hard hats and safety goggles. She said, the vaccine requirement is not a novel expansion of OSHA's power. It is an existing application of authority to a novel and dangerous worldwide pandemic.
That part right there is the issue. She goes like, well, I mean, it's a dangerous pandemic. Based on what and who? Because COVID's only killed like 800,000 people out of 350 million Americans, which is what, 0.2% of the population. And hospitalization rate is what, 0.86%? Again, I'm not 100% positive on that, but it's really low. So this is not really a dangerous situation. But let's look. I want to read you which. Let me go a little further.
By the way, that's exactly one of the points I made in my segment. I said, listen, is it tyranny? Is it authoritarianism to say, look, if you work in a construction business, you have to wear a helmet?
No, you're just strawmanning now. What are you talking about? It's nothing to do with hard hats or anything, any of the regulation like that. It's just a straw man.
You have to wear safety goggles. Here are the rules. We can't have child labor. You have to, certain number of hours off, certain number of hours on, because we need to make sure you're mentally sharp enough if you're dealing with, dangerous equipment or whatever. It is basic workplace regulation. So I made the comparison. Like, if
he's still strawmanning. That's strawmanning. It's nothing to do with this. I mean, basic workplace regulation, nothing to do with a vaccine mandate. He's strawmanning us now.
If you're willing to say, yes, hard hats are authoritarian and tyrannical, and seatbelts are authoritarian and tyrannical, then fine. Okay, you're consistent. Literally any little piece of market regulation is tyrannical. Well, the Supreme Court doesn't agree. Case law in the history of the U.S. doesn't agree, and most Americans don't agree with that.
Based on what? Most Americans don't agree with that. How do you know? Based on what? Are you going to cite polling to that? No, he's not going to cite polling. He's just going to say, "Oh, most Americans don't agree with that," in his arrogant, in his unearned, arrogant voice, unearned confidence, that he has in his voice. Anyways, I want to read. It's a 2-1 decision by the panel of the 6th District Court of Appeals in Cincinnati. Okay. Now, let's see. The mandate will take place. The majority opinion. The panel majority disagreed. Where is it? Why am I missing this? Okay, here it is. This is the part I want to read. The dissent in Friday's ruling came from Judge Joan Larson, an appointee of former President Donald Trump. And I know shit-libs want to dismiss this. It's just because she's an appointee of Donald Trump, who said Congress did not authorize OSHA to make this sort of rule and that it did not qualify as a necessity to use the emergency procedures the agency has followed or put in place. Larson also argued that vaccinated workers do not face grave danger of working for those who are not vaccinated. Of course not. It's absolutely correct. At this point, these COVID vaccine requirements are all political. This is not science. It's nothing to do with science. This is 100%. The science does not say any, vaccine mandates. Make sure everyone is vaccinated. Ooh, scary. No, I mean, nobody says that. Not a word about that. No, nothing about the science says that. This is more political. That's why, even the courts are all political now. The decision, it's obvious. One's a George W. Bush appointee, and the other judge who ruled in favor was an Obama appointee. So this is all political. Now it'll probably end up in the Supreme Court at some point. But let's go on with our super genius here, Kyle Kulinski.
Like, there can be tiny little restrictions that are reasonable and are not abject tyranny. But it's funny how everybody gets so hyperbolic when we talk about this. Guys, in order to send your kid to school,
Oh
they have to
my
have like
God.
a laundry list of vaccines.
Are you
And everybody,
kidding me? Are you actually gonna bring up the school vaccine thing again? It's ridiculous. First of all, those vaccines are proven safe and effective, and they're proven safe and effective for over decades. This COVID vaccine is at best experimental. The mRNA technology is based off of experimental. Nobody knows what the hell whether these vaccines are going to work, and even if they do work, what's the long-term consequences or long-term effects on the body of these vaccines? You don't know. I don't know. The scientists don't know. The FDA doesn't know. Nobody knows. So this is all new stuff. We were basically all human guinea pigs who took the vaccine. So Kyle's gonna want to make this basically like strawman us and make a comparison to well, what about the vaccines you go to school with? Well, those are proven safe and effective, and they for the most part work. Yes, unfortunately there are some no vaccine is perfect, but yeah, I mean this idea that he's gonna let's keep going.
seem to be like, that's fine. But then all of a sudden with the COVID vaccine, now it's like, oh, whoa, you're really crossing a line here. So listen, let me be clear about my position, because I actually don't agree with them on the substance. My position is vaccine or test. So the Supreme Court, from 1905 until today, has consistently ruled hard vaccine mandates are okay.
That's not true. In fact, he's referring to the Jacobson v. Massachusetts case here. Excuse me. Primary holding. So this is the primary opinion here. It says, here we go, let me highlight it. A state may enact a compulsory vaccination law, since the legislature has the discretion to decide whether vaccination is the best way to prevent smallpox, keyword smallpox, and protect public health. The legislature may exempt children from the law without violating the equal protection rights of adults if the law applies equally among adults. Keyword there, a state. Not a federal vaccine mandate, a state vaccine mandate. And it applies to smallpox. It refers to smallpox, excuse me. And smallpox is much more dangerous than COVID is. I'm not 100% on this, but smallpox kills one in every four people get infected. One out of every four. COVID barely kills anyone. I mean, compared to smallpox. I mean, so this idea that so that's not really true what he claimed that, oh, well, the opinion. Wait, let me see what he said exactly. I don't want to go back.
1905 until today,
Let me go.
vaccine or test. So the Supreme Court, from 1905 until today, has consistently ruled hard vaccine mandates are okay. So in other words,
Hard vaccine mandates. He's generalizing too much because the state is specific to, at least Jacobson v. Massachusetts is specific to the smallpox vaccine. There's nothing in it, and on top of that, it's for state. It's not even the federal, not even any federal vaccine mandate. And as far as I know, federal vaccine mandates aren't constitutional, unless there's a case that I'm missing and I didn't know about. If you do know that, please just put it down in the comment section below, so I can look at it and I'll pin it. If I'm wrong on that. But as far as I know, there's no constitutional federal. Let me try that again. There are no federal vaccine mandates that are constitutional, as far as I know. Alright, let's keep going.
in other words, the government could just tell you to take a vaccine, and if you don't, you're in violation of the law. Now, the penalties vary, and my guess is it's never more than like a fine, right? But technically, you're breaking the law if you don't get the vaccine. Now, I don't agree with that. My personal position on it is either get the vaccine or test.
Which, okay, get the vaccine or test. So who would pay for the tests? Is it coming out of my pocket, or any other person's pocket? Coming out of the government's pocket? Most things coming out of our pocket. So let's look at the average cost of a COVID test. I got it here. Sweet. Just give me a second. Let me make it bigger so it actually can be seen. Let's do that. It's a little small. Let's see. All right, there you go. This is $140 for a diagnostic test, and that's with reimbursement. So when you So in other words, most Americans that aren't vaccinated are poor and middle class. So what Kyle Kulinski wants you to do is spend anywhere from $36 to $143 per week for forever, basically, until the mandate ends. Which who knows when it's supposed to end, according to the administration. I mean, that's what Kyle wants you to do. He saw out of touch that he thinks, oh, what's the big deal? Just get vaccinated or get tested. Yeah, those tests are going to eventually bankrupt people because every week, most Americans don't make as much money as super genius here. The wannabe Chris Hayes in his glasses. I mean, nobody makes as much money as you do, Kyle. So you're going to deal, get the vaccine or get tested. Well, the test's very expensive. I remember when the pandemic first started, I bought a test. I bought those at home tests for $100. Those things are not cheap. I was like, oh yeah, just get tested. What's the big deal? You want to get vaccinated? Fuck yourself.
Because I think, yeah, it is a weird slippery slope when the government can tell people what to put in their bodies. I mean, look, Tuskegee experiment, right? We know how this can go wrong, and we know how it has gone wrong, and we know that we generally shouldn't just blindly trust the government. So I want to give people an out, but I also want to balance the health and well-being of the individual to protect their rights, also with the community and the collective well-being, which is a traditional left value. You need to balance both of these things.
What are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about? Yeah, I mean, the vaccine. He seems like he's assuming that the vaccine stops the spread of COVID, which it doesn't. I mean, that's been proven over and over again. That it's going to spread no matter what. No matter what we do, it's going to spread. The vaccine does is make it less likely to be hospitalized and you get sick, which is good. I'm not saying that's not good, but that's what's going on here. So he says, "Oh well, we have to protect everybody. That's why we have to force you to get vaccinated. We have to do it." Well, no, you don't. I mean, you're still going to get it most likely, especially if you're among other people. You're still going to get it. But oops, keep going with this.
So thankfully, we have a way of doing that. Vaccinate or test. Vaccinate or test. You don't want to get the vaccine, fine, but you're going to test. So that's my position on it. But let me be clear. The Constitution does not in any way, shape, or form say you can't actually have a hard vaccine mandate. You can. And the Supreme Court...
it doesn't say that either. It doesn't talk about vaccine mandates at all, one way or another. What are you talking about? The Constitution, like 12 pages long. Have you read it? Yes, I mean, what the Supreme Court said is that in Jacobs v. Massachusetts, again, that the state can impose a vaccine mandate. And it only applied to smallpox. Because smallpox was so dangerous. It was, everybody needed to get vaccinated, or else it could pose a threat to society in the United States. COVID doesn't. So what are you talking about? Have you ever read the Constitution? You're a political science major. You read shit? Because I don't think you have. What are you talking about it?
Has ruled that over and over. We have case law in the U.S. and precedent that's ruled it over and over. And even George W. Bush appointed judges are saying it. And again, when it gets to the conservative Supreme Court, my guess is they'll either say, this is totally allowed as it is, or you can't do it through OSHA, but if Congress passes a law, then it can be done. So that's my guess. And I've been right to this point. I will probably be right again. And what I would say to everybody is...
Look at his unearned arrogance. Because I was right, I was right now, and I'll be right again later. And, I was right, I mean, where's this unearned arrogance coming from? I mean, he definitely hasn't earned it because he's been wrong on nearly every political thing ever since he's been on the air. I mean, his Justice Democrats experiment failed miserably. And everything he thought has been wrong pretty much, so I don't know where his unearned arrogance comes from. I don't know.
Is you have to be intelligent enough to be able to separate out what is actually going to happen and what we think is going to happen and what case law shows versus what your own preference is. Because again, my preference is a little softer than the Supreme Court, but I think Biden's instinct is correct. Vaccinate or test is a good policy. Hard vaccine mandate, not a good policy. And by the way, final point.
Again, it's a vaccine mandate. Like he's trying to distinct between, a hard mandate and a soft mandate. No, it's a vaccine mandate, Kyle. It's a double mandate because either you get tested or you get the vaccine or you get tested. So it's a fucking vaccine mandate. It's a federal vaccine mandate, and what the administration did, which is the problem, is they went around Congress. Yeah, they went around Congress and had OSHA do it, which is the issue. Which is why there's lawsuits right now from Republican attorney generals because that's not constitutional. You can't go around Congress like that.
Jeremy Corbyn talked about this recently, and Jeremy Corbyn said, "Yeah, I think you should either get vaccinated or test." And it's funny because he got praise from the anti-mandate left when his position is the exact same as Joe Biden's. That's the same position: vaccinate or test. But for whatever reason, a lot of people just started pretending that Biden's vaccine mandate was a hard mandate when it's not. I would even go a touch further than Biden in that I don't care about businesses 100 people and over. I would say all businesses either vaccinate or test.
Two things. One, I don't give a shit about Jeremy Corbyn in England or in the UK. I don't know what he said, and I really don't give a shit. Two, he's even more. Kyle here is more authoritarian than Joe Manchin. That's a Freudian slip because it seems like Joe Manchin's the president, not. Anyways, Joe Biden, he wants to go further than Joe Biden. He's like, nope. I would just do all. I would do every employer, small business, large business, doesn't matter. I would do every employer. He's more authoritarian than Joe Biden is. This guy. And then he pretends to be a lefty. My ass.
So I'm a touch harder than Biden on that. But Jeremy Corbyn agrees with Biden. Somehow Corbyn got praise from the anti-mandate left, and Biden got scorn from the anti-mandate left when they had the same position: vaccinate or test. So it's all in the framing. Like, I think the reason why people were praising Corbyn is because the tweet that went out with the video said that he's against mandates. Well, okay, we can play the same thing. We can play the same game with Biden. He's against mandates. Because he didn't say you have to get a vaccine.
He's not against mandates. He instituted a mandate, Kyle. I mean, he is such a Biden bro that he said, he didn't institute a mandate. He did. He went around Congress and instituted a mandate through OSHA, which is, he can't do that. He has to go through Congress, which he didn't do. So what the hell is this guy talking about? Like, Biden's anti-mandate. Oh, let me kiss Biden's ass a little bit more. I kissed his ass more. Yeah, ridiculous. A little bit more.
And that's it. He said vaccinate or test. So it's all in like how people were introduced to it. But I think that's stupid. Everybody needs to listen to the fucking details of it and then make your mind up. So, look, I think that I was right to this point. I'm going to be right again. And I'll reiterate what I said earlier. Tell me how my ass tastes.
Dude, you tell me how Biden's ass tastes. That's all that's all I'll say about that, because you're not going. You tell me how Biden's ass tastes, because I'm sure you love that taste, man. You keep. How can I kiss your ass more, Mr. President? I mean, do you want me to get on my knees and kiss your ass more? Do you want me to kiss every inch of your ass? And how do you want me to kiss that ass? How do you want me to do it? I mean, I'll do anything, Mr. President. Please like me. I mean, that's basically what he's doing here. This video was ridiculous. It was embarrassing. Kyle Kulinski does not give a shit about the poor and middle class. He takes care of himself and his buddies and his buddies down in Washington and in New York. I mean, this is embarrassing. And if you think he's left, he's not left at all. He's not even close. He's not even close, and it's shameful, quite frankly. I mean, this is just pathetic, embarrassing, just unearned arrogance and confidence throughout this video, and nothing substance. I mean, just mandate. Please get the vaccine. I'm scared. You know what I mean? You need to protect each other. Please protect each other. How can I kiss that ass more, Mr. President? I mean, please, is that good? Well, I mean, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Leave me on the description box with other sources as usual. And please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. So have a good night, evening, day, afternoon, whatever.